The figure of Zipporah, Moses' wife, is often overshadowed in biblical narratives. While Moses is celebrated as one of the greatest prophets in Judaism and Christianity, the story of his first wife is frequently relegated to the background. However, Zipporah played a vital role in Moses' life and in the liberation of the Israelites. This study explores her life, her role as a wife and mother, and her influence during the Exodus events. By examining her story, we highlight the importance of women in sacred narratives and how their experiences shaped significant historical moments. Midian and its people. Midian was a mountainous region located east of Egypt, inhabited by a nomadic people known for their pastoral practices. Midianite culture was rich in traditions, and religion played a central role in daily life. The Midianites were known for their hospitality and compassion, evident when Jethro, Zipporah's father, welcomed Moses into his home. Jethro, also known as Ruel, was a priest in Midian, holding a position of respect and influence in society. This religious connection likely shaped Zipporah's upbringing and beliefs, molding her into a strong and resilient woman. Moses in Egypt. Moses was born during a time of oppression, raised in Pharaoh's court. He experienced the luxuries and complexities of Egyptian life, but always felt a strong calling to his Hebrew people. His flight to Midian, after killing an Egyptian who was mistreating a Hebrew, marked a turning point in his life. He became a fugitive, seeking a fresh start in an unknown land. This flight not only led him to Midian, where he met Zipporah, but also forced him to confront his identity and purpose. The life he built in Midian as a shepherd contrasted sharply with his privileged childhood in Egypt, preparing him for the challenges he would face in the future as a leader. Relations between Hebrews and Midianites. The relationship between the Hebrews and the Midianites was complex. Although they shared ancestral ties, cultural and religious differences often created tensions. Moses' marriage to Zipporah represented an attempt to bridge these two cultures. This union not only brought a new dynamic to Moses' life, but also symbolized the interconnectedness of the peoples who would later be central to the Exodus narrative. Moses' flight. Moses' flight to Midian was a breaking point. He left behind a life of privilege, but also his identity as an Egyptian. Upon arriving in Midian, he felt like a stranger, but his courage and determination quickly became apparent. He began working as a shepherd, learning to care for flocks and live in harmony with nature. This new lifestyle prepared him for the challenges he would encounter in the desert. The encounter at the well. The pivotal moment that united Moses and Zipporah occurred when he defended Jethro's daughters at the well. When he saw the women being intimidated by other shepherds, Moses intervened, demonstrating his protective nature. This action not only saved Jethro's daughters, but also established an initial connection between him and Zipporah. After this incident, Jethro invited Moses to his home, where Midianite hospitality was evident. The relationship between Moses and Zipporah developed quickly, culminating in their marriage. This union symbolized warmth and love, connecting two distinct cultures. Social and cultural aspects. In Midianite society, women played important roles. They were responsible for many household tasks and actively participated in the family economy. Zipporah, as the daughter of a priest, was likely knowledgeable about traditions and religious rituals, making her a valuable partner for Moses in their future journey. Zipporah's role as a wife. Zipporah became Moses' wife in a cultural context where women's roles were multifaceted. As a spouse, she had to balance expectations from her own culture with those of Moses. This balance was essential, especially as Moses prepared for a calling that would change the fate of his people. The dynamics between them were likely filled with discussions about the traditions they both valued. Zipporah could bring a Midianite perspective, while Moses represented the hopes and struggles of his Hebrew people. This intersection of cultures is a significant theme in their story. Motherhood. Zipporah bore two sons, Gershom and Eleazar. Gershom, whose name means foreigner, reflects Moses' experience as a stranger in Midian. Eleazar, meaning God is my help, highlights the couple's trust in divine protection. Zipporah's motherhood made her a central figure in the family, and her influence was crucial in the upbringing and formation of their children. Daily life in Midian. Daily life in Midian was filled with simple yet meaningful activities. Zipporah and Moses shared household responsibilities, caring for their children and tending to their flocks. This pastoral life provided Moses with a deep understanding of the needs of the people he would eventually lead. The encounter with God at the burning bush. Moses' encounter with God at the burning bush was a decisive moment. He was called to liberate the Israelites from Egyptian oppression, a monumental task that required courage and faith. Zipporah's reaction to this calling is noteworthy. As a wife and mother, she likely felt both pride and apprehension. Moses' calling meant that their lives would change dramatically. Family conflicts. Moses' decision to return to Egypt undoubtedly generated tension within the family. Zipporah may have hesitated to leave her homeland and face the unknown. This internal struggle between duty and protection is a common theme in biblical stories, illustrating that even great leaders face family dilemmas. Moses' decision to return to Egypt. Moses' determination to fulfill his calling led him on a journey filled with uncertainties. He had to leave Midian and return to Egypt, where he would confront Pharaoh and attempt to free his people. Zipporah had to support this decision, even without knowing what the future held. Zipporah's role in the journey. During the Exodus, Zipporah accompanied Moses and their children. The crossing of the desert was marked by challenges, from shortages of water to hunger. Zipporah played a vital role, not only as a mother but also as a wife, providing emotional support during difficult times. Her presence alongside Moses symbolized the strength of family unity in adversity. The circumcision episode. One of the most significant episodes in Zipporah's life occurred when God threatened to kill Moses for failing to circumcise his son. In this critical moment, Zipporah acted swiftly, performing the circumcision and saving Moses' life. This action not only demonstrates her bravery, but also emphasizes the importance of religious traditions, which were foundational in their lives. Family relationships during the journey. The journey through the desert strengthened family bonds. Moses, Zipporah, and their children faced hardships together, shaping their identities. Mutual support and communication were essential for survival in such a challenging environment. The disappearance of Zipporah's figure. After the events of the Exodus, Zipporah disappears from the biblical narrative. Her absence is notable, raising questions about her fate and reflecting the marginalization of female voices in religious traditions. What happened to Zipporah after these events remains a mystery that intrigues scholars and believers alike. Interpretations of her fate. Traditions regarding Zipporah's fate vary. Some sources suggest she may have returned to Midian, while others view her as a figure who simply remained on the sidelines of Moses' story. This ambiguity highlights the lack of recognition of women's contributions in sacred narratives. Comparisons with other female figures. Zipporah can be compared to other biblical women, such as Miriam and Deborah, who also face significant challenges. These comparisons underscore the importance of recognizing women's experiences in sacred narratives and the need to value their contributions. Representations of Zipporah in religious texts. Zipporah is mentioned in religious texts, though often briefly. However, Some Jewish traditions revere her as a figure of courage and determination, reflecting a belated recognition of her contributions. Impact on art and literature. The figure of Zipporah has inspired various representations in art and literature throughout the centuries. Artists and writers have explored her story, often highlighting her strength and resilience in a male-dominated world. Contemporary discussions of her role. Today, there's a growing interest in revisiting biblical stories from a feminist perspective. Zipporah, as a woman who played a significant role in Moses' life, is being re-examined. Her actions and decisions are analyzed in light of contemporary issues surrounding gender, power, and representation. The story of Zipporah, while less known, is fundamental to understanding the narrative of Moses and the Exodus. Her life exemplifies the complexity of human relationships and the strength of women in challenging contexts. The absence of her figure in later narratives highlights the need to appreciate women's contributions in religious traditions.